Hey, bird nerds, I'm Grant, and I hope you're a wildlife aficionado, maybe just someone who likes to get out walking in the wilds, or someone like me who does their photos in the urban setting more often than not. This is Photography Friday. It's been a long time since I've had a Photography Friday, mainly mainly due to the fact that I was away all that time from May on Millie's Wing Threads adventure. But I'm delighted today. And by the way, I'm producing this show from the lands of the Wurundjeri people, the unceded lands of the Wurundjeri people. My guest is from somewhere else. My guest is Nick Raschke. And hello, Nick. Thanks for agreeing to come on. T-
G'day, Grant. No worries.
was that I could hear as you appeared on screen? Was that another one of the clocks in the clock collection at your house?
Yeah, I think they're done now.
Oh, what was that? Was that a truck or was that a train?
Oh, you can hear that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
one of the zillion coal trains that we fly down the
Okay.
road.
All right. Well, let's do the introductions. Nick has been in sort of my frame of reference for several years now, probably at least 3 years on on Twitter. I can't call it the other thing. Sorry. And Nick posts mostly bird photos, mostly birds in flight, and mostly from the one location. Nick, tell us where that spot is.
Well, there's actually a couple of cliffs I use. There's King Edward Park in Newcastle, Shepherd's Hill above the bogey hole. It's a pretty amazing place, and it's probably 50-meter cliff, I suppose. Yeah, and yeah, it's a great spot. There's lots of local. There's kestrels live there, falcons, the white-bellied seagulls go by all the time. Um, some mad crows that live there, ravens. Sorry, I think it's ravens.
Ravens.
And yeah, don't call them crows. God. Um, yeah, great spot. Love it.
And, and you head out there just about every day when you can. So, are you doing anything other than photography? Like, are you also journaling or adding your sightings into, iNaturalist or eBird or Bird Data or anything,
Oh,
or is it
I'm naughty.
purely
I don't. Purely a selfish. It's almost a selfish thing. It's just I just love taking photographs. I don't exploit them at all. I don't sell them,
yeah?
which is hopeless. I'm a lousy capitalist, and
I I think
you know,
that's it's one of the things why I was wanting to do this kind of show, Nick, is because there's plenty of people out there doing technical stuff about photography, and I'm no expert. I'm still learning my camera. So it's probably a month or two away before I'll be putting any of my shots up because they're still super tragic, and most of my birds that I'm seeing close enough to get good shots are the rainbow lorikeets. We can't complain about them, and red wattlebirds, magpies, but it's mostly sparrows, blackbirds, spotted dove, um, crested pigeons. I like them, but I'm in a really super suburban place with not much that comes in within the reach of a well, it's about 400 mil is the reach of my lens because I'm on micro four thirds, so it's a 200 mil lens, so almost
so
effectively
where are you,
400.
Melbourne?
Yeah, I'm in Melbourne. I'm on the northwestern side of Melbourne.
So no cliffs, huh?
So
There's no cliffs in Melbourne, I suppose. Yeah.
there's no cliffs, and look, in my part of town, even raptors are pretty rare to
Mm-hmm.
see. I did have. Often I was seeing some hobbies. I think we had a pair that this was in part of their range. And sometimes see a black-shouldered kite, occasionally a peregrine, very occasionally a wedge-tailed eagle, but really high, like
Yeah.
miles and miles and miles up.
We're very lucky in Newcastle that um, so we've got lots of lovely bushland along with a beautiful coastline, and it's basically undeveloped because it was coal mining land. And back then, by the time the mines closed, I think the last coastal ones closed in sort of the very early '80s. That land was considered to be kind of unimportant, and it was turned into a national park basically. And it's just fantastic. We're spoiled rotten here for just for habitat for birds. So you can 12 minutes from here, I can be in bushland. You could be anywhere in Australia. It's just amazing, you know.
I'm pretty keen to get up there and have a squeeze. And
Yeah,
let's
if you ever do, let me know. Yeah.
yeah. Well, let's start just popping through a couple of your shots, and you can tell us a little bit about where it was taken, what the situation was, and if there's any geeky stuff that you want to talk about, we'll do that. I'm going to pull up the kestrels first
Oh, I love that.
because you mentioned that you have the cliff top and you have some kestrels on there. Tell us about these fellas.
So these two, I'm not sure if they haven't been displaced, but for the last few years, by a pair of black-winged kites, black-shouldered kites have, I think, taken over their territory over the last month or three. But these two nest below the top of the cliff, and each year they'll present their babies, and they're very cool. They'll let you get very close. Like these, I've probably got this from about 6 meters away, and these are cute birds. They're just beautiful and great
They
little
are,
hunters. Catch
yeah.
lizards, and I mean, how the hell can they catch a cricket? Like I'll spot a cricket from 20 meters up. Just mind-boggling. Their eyes must be amazing.
I've been amazed also watching kestrels where they will pluck insects on the that are on the wing, like they're not just grabbing them on the ground, and they're they're amazingly versatile in acrobatic the way
Oh yeah,
they can twist and turn, and of
oh
course
yeah.
doing the stationary hover, which is not something you're used to seeing with other falcons.
Mm.
Was this a morning shot, Nick, or an afternoon?
I don't really do mornings, Grant.
Oh,
So
that's right. We'll go into why shortly. Um,
well, yeah. So yeah, all my stuff's taken after about 11 o'clock in the morning, and which works because the cliff, all the cliffs face east, so it's no good shooting into the sun anyway. So
yeah, yeah.
I'm very lucky there. So the later in the afternoon, the better because you've got the light streaming in from behind you.
And do you have the situation on the cliff where it's like there's more activity in the morning, and then like everything has a bit of a siesta around here from about 10 o'clock
Hmm.
through till about 3 o'clock, and then
Yeah,
they all pick up again after that.
yeah.
So you so just because of the times that it's suitable, that the light is suitable for you, you're missing out
If I lived in
on
Perth, it'd be a bugger. I'd have to get up early.
that. That's right. That's right. You really would. You really would. Uh, just I know we're not going to go real geeky into how you how you set up your shots. Are you mostly on like? Do you let the camera do all of the work, or are you a manual focus guy? Or
No, you can't manually focus on a flying bird.
yeah,
I'm sure that there's probably hot dogs you can. I've never even tried it.
yeah,
Autofocus is how I get my stuff. I usually let the camera I use a high speed, so 1600. That's about as slow as I'll go,
Yeah.
unless something's sitting still at dusk, and you wind it back. But yeah, about 1600. 'Cause I like to freeze the image in the air, and
Yeah.
and I'll usually let it's a Canon camera, and I'll usually let it pick the ISO setting.
Yep.
The reason for that being that you can take three shots, and because the camera's, furiously thinking, sometimes the light, it'll flip, two different looks. Whereas if I just, left it on a setting, that wouldn't happen. And I think I probably missed some stuff that way, but I think I get some good results that way too. So it's a machine. You might as well let it be a machine, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about your aperture settings?
God knows. I,
So
I, I,
it's just on auto pretty much, and you set a high shutter speed
yeah.
and
And,
and let it go.
and,
Yeah.
and I set it up so only the very center of the field of view is a focal point, if you like. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
like the
So
back to grain. You get grainy, like an
yep.
asphalt theatre. Yeah.
Yeah. So you set a one area for focus, and you like
Like I
so
really,
so for that. Sorry, for that shot, it's going to be like the shoulder of the bird in front.
yeah,
Yeah.
or try and go for the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does your
I'm I'm
camera have?
totally un I'm totally uneducated as a photographer. I've just done it and
Yeah.
learned that way by trial and error. Yeah.
How long have you been? Have you been a keen photographer?
6 years I've been hooked on
Yeah. Had the same camera the whole time?
it.
No.
Lots of
All right.
cameras because I
All
kill
right.
cameras. I kill them. I used to. I've got lazy. Oh, you want to talk about that later, or you want to talk about
Uh,
it now?
uh, well,
There's
let's
no hurry.
let's let's talk about what was your first camera before we talk about how you've killed them. Let's talk about what was
A,
your gateway camera.
a little. God, what are the like D? The little 700D, something like that. What is that? Whatever the little, the little baby cannons are, and it would have
Yep.
just had the little stock lens that they come with.
Like the 50 mil.
Yeah, yeah, little
Yeah.
tiny lenses.
Yeah.
I used to kayak, and I'd take pictures of ships and you know stuff like that. The city of Newcastle from the harbour, that sort of stuff, and then it slowly funneled into birds, and that's when the lenses had to get bigger. Mm.
How about, did you go through the street photography phase?
No, I'm more of a outdoorsy dude. So yeah, it was almost all of it was either bushwalking or from the kayak. Yeah,
And no people on public transport or things
I
like
don't
that.
photograph
Like,
people. No, I don't do
uh,
people. I don't.
yeah,
There's so many the whole world's just built around people. So I think you know that's my escape from people. And music is all about people. You're surrounded by, you're stared at by rooms full of people. This is the opposite. That's
yeah.
what I like about it. I think.
Well, tell us about the cockatoo shot. Um, I've got a comment or two that I want to say about this. And look who's with us. We've got a comment, and I'm pleased that Deb is with us. Hello, Deb. Um, Now, Nick, you will know. I'm just checking. It's definitely the same Deb, even though it's on Facebook and not on Twitter. I'm right, aren't I? It's Les Mis Deb, who is my faithful first seen and heard friend on Twitter. Yeah, I'm glad Deb's here, because this is really what this show is for. I mean, Deb was, I don't know, would Deb, is it fair to say that 2 years ago you were sort of in the beginner category with your camera, and then just through persistent practice, you've really got good. But we'll talk to Deb more along as we go through, no doubt. I'm sure Deb will keep involved. Now, tell us about the cockatoo shot.
That's from the back porch here. That's my neighbour's chimney.
It's your neighbour's chimney. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might say too, with the way I've framed these, I haven't cropped them at all. I've put them exactly as Nick has provided them. Now, a lot of people, Nick, would reject this shot. They just wouldn't show it. They wouldn't share it because it's got the chimney and the and the tip of the TV aerial in it. I like it because it does show that this is a bird in an urban setting and quite close. But what do you think about it?
Well, it's just what you said. You got to admire the way birds can survive in our environment. You know, some do better than others, and they particularly do well. The cockatoos, I was reckon they're top birds. They're great.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of I did have a bunch of cockatoos that were hanging around here, and during the pandemic, I was feeding birds in the park. But the group of cockatoos and long-billed corellas got too big and was noisy, and then they can cause problems for your neighbours. So I just backed off on feeding them. But I really enjoyed the interaction. One of the corellas who recognises me whenever I'm out in the park, like doing the bird survey or first seen and heard, if he's flying past, he's in the neighbourhood, he comes down and says hello, comes down and checks me out, and sort of on the hoping that I've got something for him to eat. Now I'm tempted to sort of keep a little container of some nuts or something just to reward them, because it's always that conflict that goes on between you as someone who loves being with birds, loves interacting with birds, but also we don't want to habituate them to be becoming too familiar with us, because then they might get too familiar with someone who's not quite so friendly with them, and that would not be too great. So yeah. By the way, Deb said in the comments that she probably would agree that she was a beginner back then, and thanks for the I would say Deb's definitely progressed into intermediate, but I really appreciate that what both you and Deb and so many of the other people who are posting on all the social media apps, when they're not doing it to promote their photography business, they're just helping people enjoy birds and discover new birds. Like I really get into all the English photographers who are, posting a little brown, a sparrow of some description, or a dunnock, or, chaffinch, and the Americans. It's so different to most of the birds that we're highlighting here, but it helps you appreciate what's around, and also the amazing variety of birds. Do you follow all the Indian photographers, Nick?
No, a few of them, and they got some wild birds over in India, haven't they?
Yeah, hashtag Indie Aves is what I always have coming through. The last guest on Photography Friday, Will Wilson in Rwanda, some amazing birds in his feed. It's wild, isn't it? It really is wild. Now, what is this? Another comment from Deb? Yes, it is. Okay, let's Deb's useful contributions. So Deb was doing landscapes and people. So I guess that was where I was getting to, or the point of talking to you about where you started, Nick. So Deb's exhibited photos. So I'm guessing Deb's probably probably not letting the camera do everything, Nick. Probably setting her shutter speeds, her apertures, and maybe her. There's so many things in a modern camera. There's just so many things to play with. You said you shoot fairly fast with your shutter speed. Do you shoot video very often?
Never. No, only with my phone.
Wow. Is I've always been curious about that delineation. Why some people sort of focus on one or the other. I really like them both. I think it's hard to be good at both, though. I must.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I just prefer to just get lovely single shots. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're going to put another pick up, and you can tell me about this bird.
So it's a darter. They're like it's they're, they're pretty amazing. They're also called a snake bird is their old nickname. And when they swim, you can see the bodies under the water, and I find that very clever. Full stop. But when they hunt by spearing fish under the water. So they're really it's like a cormorant, but they stab their prey rather than grasp it. And
Grasp it and toss it
this
in.
little
Yeah.
bloke's waiting for that one to expire so that he can flick it up and eat it. Poor little
Yeah.
fish.
And you noted when you sent it to me that you thought it might have been a brim. I thought it might have been like a little
God knows.
trevally with that
You
shape.
you'd be right. I'm a
Yeah.
lousy fish identifier.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm no fish head either, but it looks like it's a
Poor little
marine.
bastard.
It's yeah. It looks like it's more marine. The darter, also known as the ahinga, in uh, sort of a cosmopolitan species, but we've but I think they're split out. I'm not sure, but really common in Asia, Southeast Asia, I think in Africa as well. When I was up north, there were so many of them. They're probably as common, if not more common, than many of the cormorants, and they are amazingly efficient hunters. And then they have to jump out of the water, hang their wings out to dry, but they sit there and they digest, and they really, really digest a lot of food. So this was in the salt water from the cliffs. This shot.
No, this is probably I'd say that's from a kayak looking at that angle.
Okay, in the estuary.
We've got we've got Lake Macquarie here, which is the biggest saltwater lake in Australia anyway. And there's a series of creeks that run into it, tributaries that run into it. And that'd be Cockle Creek, that one. There's Dora Creek, and it's about 17 kilometres long, and Dora Creek's 21 kilometres long, and they're wonderful places. It's beautiful. Yeah,
Mangroves on the
yeah,
fringes.
mangroves all the way along. Yeah, like I say, it's salt water, it's tidal, but it's only got one entrance, Lake Macquarie, to the sea. So the water. It's a sad story, really, because it had a lead smelter next to the northern end of it, which is terribly polluted. That end of the lake. The other end's getting better, but the northern end will always have terrible lead pollution, which is it's silted under. It's a shame that it'll never get cleaned up.
Yeah,
But it gets a little bit healthier every year as it gets buried, you know. Mm.
yeah, yeah. You don't only shoot animals. Don't only shoot birds, Nick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, so we went out, that's on a whale cruise. We went and did a whale cruise, and me and the missus for her birthday back in June, and It is fantastic. It's really hard to shoot standing up in a boat. Turns out, it's really easy from a kayak, not so easy from a tossing speedboat. Yeah, but
Uh,
they were really turning it on. We, they were actually circling the boat at one point, two of them. Oh, fantastic!
Showing off.
Mm, beautiful.
Now, you you said your current rig is a Canon.
Mm.
Have, is it one of the weather sealed models?
I don't think so. I don't think you'd want to get this wrong. I have a real aversion to water and cameras these days because I've
Well,
killed so much gear.
well, um, yeah, yeah. See, I sort of lashed out and selected the camera that I wanted that was waterproof, fully. Well, what they say, fully weather sealed. But I haven't got a weather sealed lens yet, so that's what I'm saving up
I've had
to
seven
grab.
Ds, right? And seven Ds are meant to be fairly waterproof. Yeah, I killed them. I killed several. Uh, that there's lens that I use, the 400 Mark One, 400 millimeter one. They're meant to be water sealed. I've drowned one, you know. Yeah, yeah. So water, I'm a bit twitchy about water these days.
And
It
you're
adds up to a lot of
skeptical of
money
the
when I get it
claims.
wrong.
Yeah. Skeptical of the claims of
Water molecules are a very small thing, you know. You find its way in.
that's right, and the universal solvent, so it
Mm.
always finds a way. Um, I'll just have a look at another one. I'm interested in how this is from the kayak or from the cruise.
From the cliff, from the cliff.
From the cliff. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
they must have been fairly close. Um,
Yeah, yeah. The dolphins don't go too far out. They'll usually be within 75 metres of the shore.
when you're shooting, when do you get like what's your it's hard to sort of get the right question out, but do you get excited and perhaps emotional sometimes when you see something really fantastic from the cliff?
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
why you do it. It's endless waiting, and then the release, you know, of finally getting something is great. That's why we do it. Because, you know, you get that rush of brain chemicals when you get the shot. You know,
Well, is it getting the shot or is it seeing the animal? And do you see sort of what I'm
well,
saying?
both.
Like a lot of people I've spoken to get really excited by getting a really good shot and getting the technical bits right. You know, perfectly exposed and brilliant composition. And of course, we're talking about the difference between being an expert photographer and a good photographer. But I'm always interested in the feeling and of the interaction and recording the interaction,
Yeah,
and whether it
you know.
and whether it's similar
Well,
to something else which is very close to your heart, which we'll talk about a bit further when we get through a few more photos. What's Deb?
that's two babies, by the way. That's two babies in front to the
Yeah,
right of the picture, and the
yeah,
two
yeah,
adults on the left. Yeah.
yeah.
Two.
God. This is sorry everyone. My mouse is terrible. I've got to go to the trackpad. There we are. So Deb, you're not alone, Nick. Last time Deb went in a kayak, she killed her camera too. So, which would make you wonder why do you do it? Why do you do it in a
Because water's a
uh,
beautiful place. It's just beautiful, you know.
yeah.
And things will let you get a lot closer in a kayak than they will on foot. You know, I think I've got a theory that if a bird sees a person and they're scared of you because you're a person, you're walking along. But if you're in a
Yeah,
kayak, you lose that human silhouette to a big degree, and they turn their heads and go, what are you, you know? And then you get your shot, you know. Yeah.
seals in along your
Yeah.
So again, from the cliff, the same. Tell us
No, this
about
is
this
on
shot.
Newcastle Breakwater,
Okay.
Newcastle Harbour, and they're starting to. That's becoming a permanent colony. It used to be unusual to see. You'd see a sea and go, oh, that's weird, you know. But there's 7 or 8 of them now living there, and they're having babies, and it's great. You know, I read an article where they think that they're recovering. You know, like they we killed a lot of them off back in the day,
Yeah.
and there would have been zillions of them once, and we're getting back to zillions. It's great, you know. Mm.
So are they sea lions or are they seals? I wonder. They. I'm
Seals, I don't know,
thinking.
I'm not sure what you
Yeah.
call them.
Yeah.
Seals? Don't know. Mm.
Um.
They're not sea
Yeah.
lions. No, we don't have sea lions in New South Wales. I'll look that up.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. You
They're
you one
big.
up.
They're
You
huge.
you one up
Although
on
these are
me now.
big.
You one up on me now. Okay. This is almost my favourite shot that you sent me, Nick. Um, when it comes up, there we are.
Beautiful, aren't they?
Well, they're an extraordinary subject, aren't they? The tawny
Mm-hmm.
frogmouth, because they're they've got those eyes. What can you say about them? Uh, they're quizzical but menacing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But they're a really interesting bird because of the way they camouflage. If they do give you the right angle, you can see what a massive bill they have, and the gape, the width of the gape, because of course they're out hawking insects all at night, or going down to the ground level and picking up lizards and frogs or anything they can find. They're pretty astounding animals, but they're also cute. They're cute and ugly.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah. Where is this?
Just the end of my street. They moved sadly because some 2 very loud dogs moved into the house next to their tree that bark all day, and I'm pretty sure that's why they moved away. You know, it's a shame because they were here for years. I photographed them for years through probably 4 lots of babies and stuff. You know, and I miss them. It's a shame, but you know, not much you can do. But
Yeah.
yeah, they were just 100 metres from the house for years. They're lovely.
And you don't pop out round the neighbourhood sort of looking for birds. You don't do a regular
Oh,
birding walk, looking at gardens and
I know all the birds that live around here. We've got lots. We've got currawongs, and we've got a pair of coels that come every year. They're pretty cute, but good luck finding those. They're sneaky. Yeah, we've got all sorts. Magpies, both sorts of butcher birds, crows, sorry, ravens. Yeah, we've got some great collection of birds out here.
do you get the channel billed cuckoos coming through?
No, there's a couple that fly over, but they don't actually live here in the street. No,
No, they don't. They don't rest.
no,
They don't rest.
no.
Now, this is that group of
Yeah,
frogmouths. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
So one of the frogmouths we just looked at is probably in
yeah.
this family group. This shows
Yeah, I'd
again
say
how
Frank on the right. They had names. Frank and Amber were their names. That's Amber on the left and Frank
yeah,
on the right and the baby in the middle.
and that the baby really displays how great they are at camouflage, and
Mm,
and you'll usually find them in a eucalypt, um, where their
yeah.
feathers
I
just
think
match.
the Jacaranda of it. Mm,
Yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about this shot. Because I thought, now are they in a? That's exactly what I thought.
mm,
Are they in a jacaranda in flower, and
mm.
and and the bokeh is just diffusing the flowers, and I can't actually tell, or was there something in the exposure which made it look like you had a violet sky? So
No, it's just a 20s in a Jacaranda.
yeah,
I couldn't believe my luck. You know. Mm.
yeah, very good. And I wonder if that's sort of usual. I usually only ever see tawnies in eucalypts. I know they're in other do inhabit other plants, but I just wonder if it's a preference.
Yeah.
Um,
Usually, I'm sitting there sort of rough bark eucalypts. But these guys used to, use about three different trees to hang out in during the day. Mm.
yeah. All right. This is one that I'm sure lots of people would want to know about.
Yeah, it's an eagle and a fish and a kestrel. It's pretty cool. I say
Yeah.
so. So, I mean, that's lovely, don't you think? Yeah.
Yeah. White-bellied sea eagle.
Unusual to see a kestrel defending like that.
Um, I don't know. They're pretty pugnacious. They don't like. I mean, lots of really small birds will have a go at big birds when they're close to
Usually,
their
I find
nests.
ravens and magpies are usually the attack force that go and clear the eagles out. That's the only time I've seen a kestrel do that. Mm.
Oh, I've seen willy wagtails having go at wedgies and
Yeah, they'll do it. Yeah.
white-bellied sea eagles.
Mm.
Have you got a pair with nesting territory there, or are they cruising along the coast, opportunistically
The sea
hunting?
eagle we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I know where they nest. They're down at the other cliff I use, which is about 5 kilometres south, a place called Dudley. And they're
that's
nesting. I won't climb down to find the nest, that'd be rude,
yeah,
but I know
yeah,
where they nest, and they're nesting on a cliff ledge. Yeah. It's probably that bird. They fly up and down the coast there. They've got fairly big territory, so.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
and they really do whiz along the coastline and then wheel around and follow. If you've got an estuary, they'll do a couple of laps of the estuary and then up the river and then back down the coast again. They're pretty methodical. Yeah, yeah. Look how small the kestrel is
Yeah.
compared to a
And they're a
sea
big
eagle.
bird.
Yeah,
They're fairly big bird, a kestrel. You know,
yeah,
you realise just how vast the sea eagles are. They're massive.
yeah. When you see them close at rest, like they are massive birds, I think a lot of people are really surprised at how big a wedge-tailed eagle is
Mm.
when when you see them. But they are the sea eagle is equally as big. So your camera on auto does a really good job, doesn't it, of picking out the highlights there and not overexposing the sky. And
Yeah, I think, like I say, you miss some, you get some others. I think you got to do it all the time for flying birds. You've got to do it every day to be a good shot. Literally, like it's like shooting a rifle. You've got to. You don't have time to be finding the thing. You've got to point and find the thing in the middle of the lens. So, it's why I like to do it all the time.
uh,
Stay practice.
do you get out of practice? Like,
I don't know because I never stop.
okay, really, really. So you've never been in a situation where you've taken a week or two off where you've had to go and do something
No,
else and can't
I,
get up.
I, I have decided that next time we go overseas, I'm going to leave the big camera at home
Okay.
because I finally realised that the trick to my stuff is I know their territories,
Yep.
I know where they live. If I'm walking through the countryside in England, I don't know who lives there. The chances of, what I mean, stumbling on a cool, interesting bird and being in a part of it is pretty bloody slim. And meanwhile, you're lugging 3, 4 kilos of camera. So yeah, I've decided that next time we go to see, I'm leaving the camera at home. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's well, it's part of the choice about gear. We'll talk about in a minute, but that the comment you just made about if you were just rambling around in maybe the dales of Yorkshire or maybe you're in Derbyshire or something and you've got the hedgerows and whatnot. Would you be as excited about birds that you're unfamiliar with, maybe some dunnocks or something that are maybe in hedgerows rather than birds in flight? Like, is it the flying
Yeah, it's
birds
more
that
the
really
flight.
get you going?
It's, yeah, I just, I think it's part of the challenge of getting the thing and getting the angle of the light right, uh, and just, a part of it is chance, but it's not. You're there and you've got your eyes open. You look at a phone message at your peril. If you're photographing birds,
Yeah,
you
that's
look
right.
up and instead of back end of an eagle flying away, you kick yourself.
That's right. Um, so, 6 years about that you've been really keen on photography. How long did
Yeah,
it take you before you felt like you were a pretty good photographer?
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, about 2 years. I don't know. It depends. Like I was getting some good shots pretty early on, uh, and again, that was with the kayak. You spoiled with a wider lens. You spoiled rotten on the kayak because water does wonderful things, all those reflections and shadows and stuff. Um, yeah, it's probably 18 months before I sort of knew what I was doing, and then the bird thing it happened. And, yeah.
Have Have you ever thought about how many hours what the equivalent number of hours was for you to sort of get from beginner to sort of
I don't know.
intermediate or quite
I
good?
mean,
Like,
I've put a lot of time into it.
yeah,
I mean, when I was kayaking, I kayaked thousands of kilometres. You know, um, yeah, times now. I work at night so that I can do this stuff during the day. You know,
yeah. They often say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert. How many?
yeah, I've done that. I've
Yeah,
definitely done that.
yeah, well, that's what I was really wondering if you thought that 2 years, 3 years, 4 years sort of might have been the equivalent of that 10,000 hours. I don't really know I subscribe to that, but it's a well known truism that's trotted out over and over and over and over and over again. What do you think, Deb, in the comments? How many, if you ever thought about how many hours, and anyone else, like the rest of you who are watching, and if you're actively improving your photography skills, or if you already think you're an expert, have you ever thought about how many hours it took you to get to that level? Um, how many? Well, that's not the right question. How many bad shots do you reckon you take each day, Nick, to get a good one?
Well, I don't. I mean, okay, okay. Everyone takes a bad shot, right? It can happen, but I hate having to process. I don't shoot on burst. I got better things to do than sit in front of a computer for hours going through 200 shots, from a fast burst of a bird. I got better things to do. And I think I know what works now. So when I'm looking at a bird through the lens as it's flying by, I I know what sucks and I know what looks good, and I don't push the button if the angle's not right or the light's not right, and I'm watching the bird go by and I'm hoping it's looking at me, say, and that's when I take the photo. I only want to take 3, 4 shots as the bird's going by, and then often they're good, because I mean, okay, I have a theory that I'm a lead, I play really fast guitar. I think pretty quickly, you know what I mean? And I think that translates to photography too, you've got good reaction times, I think that's important for what I do. Yeah.
Not wanting to spend hours in front of the computer trolling through hundreds and hundreds of shots to find the good one
Mm,
sort of begs the question: do you like to get as much as you possibly can right in the camera,
mm, definitely.
and then
All I do is crop them. I don't manipulate my images.
okay, you don't
Good on you if you do. It doesn't bother me.
yeah,
But
yeah,
Me, I like to just take the photo and then crop it. That's all I do. I just crop them, remove some of the excess from the sides.
So no color grading. Uh, do you,
No,
what what do you shoot in? Do you shoot in JPEG or HDR or RAW?
I think JPEG. Yeah, JPEG.
JPEG. Okay.
I know that one. That's one of the few things I do know.
Um, yeah. Well, it's interesting to get everyone's perspective. I have to say, well, because my computer is right on the edge, like it's pretty much full. Every time I do something, I have to delete stuff, even if I and I've offloaded so much stuff. Even if I offload things onto hard drives, just the applications that I use and the processing power required for the swap memory, I'm right to the point where color grading and everything I can't really do yet. But I'm just maybe I'll catch the bug because some people tell me that when you get familiar enough and good enough with color grading that then you start to like it. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm yet to be convinced. So I'm really trying to set up my shots and video so that everything, well, as much as possible, is right in the camera, so that there's not too much work involved or not too much time. I don't mind the work. It's how much time do you have? So yeah, Deb's made the comment about how many hours, and she's out there daily doing it. But yeah, the comment about thank goodness for digital cameras where you can delete stuff, where you don't have to actually process. Imagine, did you ever do? Well, it sounds like you never did darkroom photography, Nick.
No way. I wouldn't be a
Oh,
photographer. I just play with film
oh,
and all that stuff. No way. Again, I've got
well,
better things to do.
I did. I started at school
No,
doing it
I
with.
admire those. I admire that deeply. I think my missus was a photographer in her youth, and uh, and that was all film, And I really admire those people. I wouldn't do it. I just don't have to. I'm endlessly patient, waiting for shots. Not so much when it comes to mucking around with stuff when I get home. Yeah.
When I was a kid, I didn't have the money for a big lens. I just had a 50 mil, and I bought an old 35 mil. I had a Praktica body, and then I got a Canon EOS 500, I think it was, and when I had those cameras, I was taking pictures of people at school. Obviously, you take pictures of what's going on around your school and the sport and stuff like that. But when I wanted to do colour, and because I only had the small lens, and Uncle gave me a really old macro lens, so I got into taking photos of plants, flowers, and critters, which was really cool. So I've got to get a macro lens again. But I reckon if I had had a big lens and trying to shoot birds back in the film days, I don't reckon I would have had anything usable based on how many pics I had to take, how many images, how many frames I had to get in a roll of film to get one or two good ones. You get a 36 roll of film and find that while you're learning, so many of them are just rubbish. They're just slightly out of focus, or yeah. Anyways, but it's the joy of learning, isn't it? The joy of learning. Now, what have we? We still got a few more pictures to get into. Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Uh, this one I like because it's so weird.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, there's a colony of those spoonbills out at the Newcastle University, and each year in spring I'll generally go and see how they're going, and dangling lovely babies and stuff. This one's doing a bit of Tai Chi.
Yeah, the Royal Spoonbill. I hadn't seen large groups of them until I'd gone north with Millie. They're a lot more sociable than I.
Yeah, they nest in colony. Yeah,
Yeah,
people carry on about ibises, the bin chickens. But if you look closely at a group of bin chickens, you'll often find one or two of these amongst them. The birds of a feather thing. Yeah.
that's right. Well, they do. They do often hang out together.
Mm.
Uh, but I always thought that they were. You used to seeing 3, 4, 5, maybe in a group, and often yellow-billed spoonbills along with the royals, and then, as you said, ibises. And I didn't think they were carrying on much amusing antics, but watching them with young, they're really interesting, and the young are clowns. They're real.
Yeah.
They're real
They're
clowns.
clumsy too. They fall out of the nest a lot. Poor little things.
Now, what's in the background there? Is that water or is that a grey sky?
It's water, I think. Yeah.
Water. Yeah, it's really interesting angles. The composition of that shot too. We've got the angle of the leg and the top of the wing, and then the wing tips lining up. It's an interesting shot.
Yeah, it could be Skype. I can't recall the angle I got that from. I just know it's from the uni.
Let's see. That's good
Could be
mystery,
Sony.
isn't it? It's
Yeah.
good
I don't write
mystery.
anything down.
Yeah. Well, very casual approach to taking shots, and we'll just pull up this last one, which is an absolute ripper.
Yeah, little thing.
Kestrel on the dive. It's
Yeah, that's
interesting
what I
how
set up.
it's interesting those wing coverts, the way they've poked out a bit, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Clever.
Beautiful.
I love the way
Oh,
he's looking at the prey.
yeah, yeah. They're they're great. Oh, actually, there's one shot that I haven't got, but I think that you sent me, but it was in Twitter today, which was your black shouldered kite. Did you send me that one,
Yeah,
or was it
I
only on
meant
Twitter?
I tried to. It was in one of the lost bloody
One of the ones that
emails, I'm
didn't come
afraid.
through. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Black-shouldered kite, lovely. Gosh. Mm.
Well, and did you post that on Instagram today as well?
Yes, yeah. It's
Yeah.
just
Okay.
my
So,
sister. Yeah,
all right. Well,
I
before we
was dead
start,
happy about that. Mm.
so what's your Instagram?
This Nick.Raschke.
Nick.Raschke. I'll pop those up in the description later on, and Nick's Twitter. So you're really prolific posting. I mean, just about every day you pop something up, don't you? For
Every day I do. I'll get
yeah,
neurotic
for,
about that. Every day.
yeah, for Twitter. Now, so here's your rig. So that's the. What did you say?
Just
That's
put
the
it in bits
four.
of gaff. Yeah. What's that?
That's the 400 mil.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the 700D. Yeah,
yeah. Uh,
yeah.
70D.
70D.
70.
70D.
Yeah, yeah. Which are a good
70D.
camera. Like, I don't look after my gear, and I kill 7Ds. Doesn't matter if they're dry or not. I still kill them. They die. Um, I've killed 3 or 4 7Ds, and this is the second 70D I've had, and they're tough. I'd recommend if you're going to abuse cameras, get a 70D. Yeah, yeah.
so,
They're tough. They really are.
so is
I'd
that
probably
the
buy another 70D when this one dies, because they're good little tough cameras.
so is that the total number of cameras that you've had in your 6 year?
I've got a
Uh,
cupboard full of cameras. I've got dead cameras. I feel sad. I can't just throw them in the bin. Although I said, what's the point of keeping a dead camera? But I can open the cupboard and there's like 8 cameras, 9 cameras in there. That have just died because of salt exposure. Usually, is what takes them down.
And
If if not
everything's a
actually
Canon.
being under the water. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've only used Canons.
Okay.
I do wonder sometimes if I shouldn't try something else, but that's what I use. Yeah.
So you've got the common miner there on in the garden. I can hear, or on the
No,
street.
you little bastard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. All right. So you've killed cameras, but not only cameras. Um, Now you titled this "Why Can't I Have Nice Things?"
Okay.
So,
This is a good story. I mean, so a friend of mine is Scott Bevan, journalist, writer, and
oh, with
he,
the ABC, yeah,
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 lovely guy, right?
yeah.
And
Okay.
he wanted to do a reissue of his book on the hunter, and so about 18 months ago, he wanted some pictures of him. One of the complaints he got from it was no pictures of him in the book. So he said, would I come with him and get some author photos of him? And I said, great. So we did 100 kilometres of the river over 4 days, over 2 weekends, uh, so 25 kilometres a day. And the hunter, that looks really quiet and calm there. It isn't. It isn't. It's trying to kill me. And I, I tipped my boat over and got pinned against a log jam behind the boat, and and like it threw me under the water, and I didn't drown, yay. But the boat was pinned, and all the water just instantly filled the kayak, and that's why I was pinned. And bloody hell, I was just going, oh, no, because I knew I didn't have the dry bags done up properly, and it took me some minutes to get out because the control cables on the rudder were caught up in the log jam. And by the time I got out, that's it. It had taken down the cameras, and the lens. And people say stupid things like they say, "Oh, you could have put it in a bag of rice," and they say, "Yeah, right." So I'm going to carry a 5 kilogram bag of rice when I'm going for a kayak trip.
Yeah, that's right.
God, that's weird. But yeah, anyway, it was the end of the road. Poor old thing. Yeah,
So, how many cameras were
that
sacrificed
was.
in the accident?
I think that was. I think that was two. It was my last non. I'm down to one lens, just that big lens now. I don't have any small lenses because they've all been killed. Interestingly, both times with Bevan. The other one was on a lake on Lake Macquarie. Um, on Lake Macquarie, and a storm like you wouldn't believe blew up, and I managed to save the lens that time. Another 7D dying that day. You just you pull a memory card out and stick it in your pocket. That's all you can do when you kill a camera. She tried the
That's right.
rice thing that didn't work.
Yeah.
I like
So
that. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
So
a myth. Yeah.
So Deb's just commented that she tried the rice thing and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd probably find. I've actually got a. I keep all of those little bags of silica gel that come whenever you order anything that gets delivered to you, uh, and I reckon if I had a slightly damp or moist lens or something, I'd probably put it in a bag with some silica gel. I think that might pull pull
The
moisture out.
salt's the problem, though.
Yeah, I mean salt shock and stuff. Um, yeah, so from the publishing royalties, uh, Bevan never uh, Bevan never bought you a new camera. So
He's a tough bloke. He'll buy me things.
um, I used to like listening to him when he was doing the radio
Yeah,
spots on
he
the
just did a
ABC.
stint here and drive time on the local ABC, and it was nice listening to him this afternoon. He's got a great voice.
Yeah, he does have and he seems like a fairly measured and gentle soul. Um,
Oh, he is. He is.
yeah,
He's
and
a true
yeah,
gentleman through and through. Great, great, great,
yeah,
lovely fella. Yeah.
yeah. That was certainly the feeling I got from listening to him. So
So
I think
luckily he had his camera, and he kept his camera dry, and so I used his camera to get the shots. So they're in his book.
Very, very cool. Well, you let's let's sort of move away a little bit from just photography because I like to find out a bit more about the people we're chatting to. So you mentioned that you work at night so that you can do photography during the day. Now I reckon that's a really good kind of choice. That not everyone's got the choice about what kind of work they do. Well, actually, in a way, they do. Um, yeah, in a way, you do. You might have to make compromises for it, but it's it is a real challenge, isn't it, to lifestyle. You probably don't go to a lot of things that people are having, social functions and things like that, because they happen in the evenings after
Oh,
work and
I
things like
grew
that.
up. I grew up playing music. You don't. You find like I was 15 when I started gigging, and so yeah, you lose all those school friends and stuff over the years because you just don't get to go out with them. You're working, you know. So yeah, it's funny that
Um,
it's a funny way to grow up, you know. Yeah.
Although you lose a lot of them anyway along the way. I mean, because people's lives, you just
Mm,
things that were really common interests to you and common people. As you get older and
mm,
older, all those people are less relevant to you.
mm,
So
mm.
I think that's a fairly common experience. But you're also, apart from gigging, playing music, and being a shredder. If you're playing really fast lead guitar, then obviously you must be a shredder. Um, so so Fender, Gibson, or does any old guitar work if you got the right amp and right microphone and
Okay.
right
I don't.
technique?
I grew up playing Strats,
Okay,
and
so
I'm back on a Strat now, Stratocaster. But for 5 years I played only 12-string guitars, electric guitars, and did all my lead work on those. Um,
so
that was interesting.
an Epi, an Epiphone, or
No, I had Maton,
oh,
Master
mate, a
Sound
Maiden
12,
12. Okay,
or two of
right.
those, and then but the best 12 electric that I own is $350. Band called Agile from Korea.
Well, that's
Um,
kind of
it's a hell of a guitar.
it's kind of what I was angling at now. Like, there's so many cool brands, like, well, the like the Harley Bentons that are available in Europe, and there's so many good Indonesian, Korean, Chinese guitars now. So
Mhm.
I'm tempted to get one, but and try and learn. But I'm going to put all my money into podcasts and cameras. So
No, I was very lucky to find the guitar when I was 11, so I've been doing it for a while. Yeah.
yeah, uh, again, that idea about how many hours it took you to become really proficient as a guitarist. Have
Yeah,
you ever
I
thought about
was a
that?
bit of a. I was very lucky. I grew up in a. My mum was a concert piano player, so you grew up around the piano and impossible piano, and so I knew that a person could make me. And I learned the guitar in 6 months. I picked it up, and 6 months later, I could listen to something and pretty much play it. So I was a bit
So
of a I was a bit of a whiz, you know.
do you have perfect pitch?
Yeah, yeah,
You do.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's a real gift when
yeah.
it comes to learning.
And then
If you
I went busking pretty much straight away, and just you know, it was the '80s and we had no money, so you go busking,
yeah.
and then I was gigging by 15 and 9 months. I was gigging every weekend, 3 times a week,
All
and
right. Well,
because you could do that then, and then playing in front of people, you just get better and better and better, you know.
okay, folks. Spoiler alert. Um, we are going to verge off some photography now. I'm going to ask Nick about some things that may not be in your interest zone, so I'm just letting you know. So, 80s guitars, gigging. Were you were you a sort of a Hoodoo Gurus fan, or were you more in the Choir Boys and the Angels?
No, we were 60s guys. We loved the 60s.
Oh,
So we'd do lots of Stones and Beatles and Sunny Boys. And
well,
yeah,
there we
we
go.
loved,
I was going to
we were,
say Sunny Boys, Stems, the Some Loves. What did you think about the Some Loves? Were they?
oh, I don't know. I haven't heard of them. I'm terrible. Yeah.
I'm going to have to. I'll have to send you a Spotify playlist. I was right into all of that kind of stuff, and I spent some time working in that scene. Or when you say working, I mean depending on what level you were. Like, do you remember the old? We've got a gig for you, Nick. $50, 2 loaders. Do you remember those days?
Yeah, I've done a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
But,
For,
no, we got good money because we got a good crowd. And Newcastle was a good town. And once you had a following, you can ask for more money. Not like Sydney or Melbourne where you're working for $50. I've never done that. I wouldn't do it.
that well, I don't know. I don't know now if you'd even be able to get away with it. But that was the standard deal. If you're at the bottom of the bill, so you might be on a really good bill, but you'd get paid $50. You'd get a slab of beer if you were lucky. Maybe you'd only get a dozen cans, and you've got to provide two people to unload the PA and set it up, and then take it down at the end of the night and load up the truck again. Absolute exploitation.
Well, it is, That's where I'd question my life choices. If that was if they were the only gigs that I could do, I probably wouldn't do the gig because you got to live. You got to eat. Yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah, I,
you know.
I sort of
That's why we never went to Sydney.
it took me a long time to work out that there was never going to be any money in the kind of music that I was into,
Mm-hmm.
and at every level of the industry, at the bottom end, it was just exploitation, exploitation. People always wanting you to provide services to see if you were any good. And you'd never end up
Mm-hmm.
getting paid for it, and then you'd never end up getting. You could always you can come in and help out. That used to be the thing, and everyone think, oh well, I'll just prove myself, and it's just exploitation at every level of the industry, but a heap of fun, right?
Oh, it's a ball. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great business. I've had the best times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still
Country
doing it,
music,
like
country
45
music,
years
yes or
in.
no?
No, I don't like it. Don't tell me I don't like country.
Did, did you ever?
I love their guitarists. There's some wonderful Telecaster American guys that I can listen to all day. You know what I mean? It's just when they start singing about pickup trucks these days, I just go, oh, please.
That's right.
Really?
Oh, now, Deb.
Freedom and all that shit, like all that
Yeah.
American stuff is just
Oh,
really cold. Yeah.
um,
I'm a rock guy.
Deb's mentioned too, by the way, that she's got a Korean made telly style for $300. So very good,
Yeah, mate.
very good. Deb, let us know, when did you start playing guitar? The other thing I want to ask you both. So, Deb, this is also for you. Nick, in my experience, most people who are naturally gifted musicians but also good at guitar are good at maths. Are you good at maths?
Oh, I'm good at mental arithmetic. Yeah.
Okay, so you're good at
I'm
maths.
dyslexic.
Yeah.
I'm dyslexic, so I never did learn. I still can't do, like long division or long. I can't do that, but I can add anything up pretty much in
Yeah.
my head when I have to. Yeah,
So quadratic equations, not your friend.
yeah. Leave me cold. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Me too. So Deb was 15 years old when she got into guitar.
I was 11. I was very lucky. Yeah.
and Deb is not good at maths. I was forced to learn piano and recorder, but I had a teacher I couldn't stand. It was the most boring thing I could imagine. So, and I've got a bit of a rebellious and argumentative streak, as anyone who listens to the show or follows me on Twitter will know. It's probably my biggest regret in life that I didn't just push through that barrier of being, 9, 10 or 11, I think I was, probably 9 or 10, and hating those lessons and sticking it out and getting a better teacher. But I lived in a place where I don't think there was an option for another teacher.
My mum was a really mean piano teacher. Yeah.
Well, did she hit you with a knitting needle?
She wouldn't hit them. No, she'd humiliate them, but she wouldn't hit them. Yeah.
Oh, I got humiliation.
I didn't make a mistake. I just oh God, no.
I used to get the humiliation and the knitting needle across the across the knuckles. But the other thing which frustrated me was we weren't able to learn any tunes that we liked, and we had to progress. I was quite good at music theory, but I remember this horrible tune called "The Boatman" in music theory, and it was just boring and it was awful. But for months on end, that was the first thing we had to play, and I'm thinking, can't you just teach us the bridge of a song that we like so we can actually go, hey, and we can impress people with what we can play? But
no, you made me do it. I don't know why you would make a kid learn music. That's bizarre.
You're really lucky to have perfect pitch, and to be able to, learn a song by ear. Tell me, Nick, do you think that people can learn that? I follow a bloke on YouTube who reckons he can teach anyone to learn by ear. But it's an expensive course, and I'm not sold. I'm not sold on it yet.
Yeah, I can't read music. I can only I do know that Mum taught me before school one morning. I said, Mum, what's the numbers? What's a ninth? What's a sixth? And so she just walked in, took about 3 minutes, walked me through the circle of fifths, relative chords, and I just walked off. I didn't do any schoolwork after that because all I could think about was the guitar. And that made everything make sense instantly. I could just work everything out by ear from then on. I was about probably 13 when she did that. And suddenly it all made sense. Yeah.
I'll have to come up and see you one day, and you can explain it to me while we listen to some classic harmonies, and you can.
I can just see it in real time. Yeah. So if I hear anything, I can just see it on a guitar neck in my head.
So, Stormy's in the house. H2 Rider. Fairly, not really in your area, Stormy, but Nick's in Newcastle. Stormy's in Toongabbie, so at least it's up in that area. Oh, we should say too, Deb's in South Gippsland. Did you see Nick when Deb posted the bar-shouldered dove that turned up in her backyard?
No.
That was that was very, very, very good get for South Gippsland. Very, very, very good get. Nick, I usually go through a couple of sort of questions like, what's your bucket list location and all that, but you seem to me to be fairly settled with where you're at. You don't strike me as someone who's got itchy feet wanting to go and photograph birds in the rainforests of Costa Rica.
I think of the practicalities of it. It sounds like a lot more trouble than it's worth.
and you're not like a twitcher, and you're not a lister, so I think that cancels so much out. Is
Yeah.
there is there anything in your sort of local patch that has that you would like to see and get some good shots of? I mean, Newcastle recently, you've been getting the region honey eaters and Port Macquarie. I think it was in. I think that was in.
I tried to photograph one up at Bellingen recently when I was there with a mate when I was there for a hiking trip, and I just couldn't get it. Yeah,
Didn't see
just
it or
couldn't get it.
couldn't get a
No, I
shot.
saw it lots, but I just couldn't get a good shot. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
They
difficult, aren't
must know
they?
they're still out there.
Yeah. So yeah, the butter. Deb's just noted that the Bartailed Gov way out of its usual range, but Sean Dooley reckons it was a wild bird that have been a few seen in Vic over the past 10 years. I think Deb, I made the comment that it was just as likely to be a wild bird as an aviary escapee a little bit before Sean got involved. So yeah, I think. Have you had anything weird turn up in Newcastle of the last year or
Yes,
two,
we
Nick?
get oh God, what are the huge stalks?
The black neck stork, the Jabberoo.
Yeah, yeah. We get those occasionally here. That's a pretty exciting thing. I've shot a few of those over the years. They'll come down and nest on Kooragang Island here, and that's pretty special. This is as far south as they go, and so it's pretty exciting when you spot one of those. I'm always looking for those every spring. Haven't seen any this year, but did last year. Yeah, they're amazing. Huge. The
And
little
is that,
babies practice. The babies
yeah,
practicing flying, walking around flapping their wings and stuff. That's pretty good.
and when they, I mean, it's a massive nest usually. How high up are they nesting? The ones in your area?
And nest on the ground, I think. Don't
Oh, okay. Well, I've only ever seen a Jabberoo nest up high on top of a. I think it was
they?
a palm tree actually.
You're probably right. I always assumed they were ground nesting, but I can't say I've seen them sitting on a nest, so you'd be right. Yeah,
Yeah, they build a big platform. It's like those storks in Europe, that nest on
yeah,
everyone's chimneys and
yeah, lovely
TV
one.
antennas and things like that. I think there we go. Stormy or H2 Rider on YouTube. Stormy on X, commenting on your black-shouldered kite that you posted this morning.
Mm, mm.
They're they're a really photogenic bird, aren't they? It doesn't matter what
Bloody
angle
beautiful.
you
Yeah.
which angle you catch them from. They're a great looking
Mm-hmm.
bird.
Yeah.
Um, Deb, you photographed one in Sri Lanka way up high in its nest. I'm guessing you're talking about a stork. Um, Continuing our discussion about the black-necked stork. Deb, when were you in Sri Lanka? Let us know that. And have you only been only have you been once or more often? Like Sri Lanka is supposed to be an amazing place for seeing birds and animals, and I've seen lots of street photography and things that are really interesting coming out of people's trips to Sri Lanka. Um, I think Deb's been twice, has she? There we go. 2016 and 2017. Really nice. Really nice. And yes, well, it's a black neck stork. Um, is there a bucket list bird for you, Nick, that you would love to be able to get a shot of?
Mm. Nah, not really. No, just I mean, I think if you just keep at it, ultimately you'll get most of the stuff you're interested in. Yeah, there's a few. I mean, you're always looking out for stuff, but no, not really. I'm happy to photograph whatever happens along. It's not. It's more about the moment for me. I'm not really collecting species. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
more
yeah,
about the
no,
shot.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do know. Is there some gear that you sort of lusting after? Like,
Oh,
is
I always
there?
want another 7D. I love 7Ds. They're a beautiful camera. They work. They get the best shots. They're great in low light. But as I say, having killed three or four of the things, I'm hesitant. They stopped making them recently, which is sad. So good in a way. It means I don't have to kill anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do. I need to get a better camera than this one, but uh, I don't like spending money on tech. That's all. I hate tech. Tech shits me. They're like, I don't like having a guitar. I get that. I get that. In 50 years' time, I'm dead. That guitar's still being played by someone who loves it, right? I get that. Well, that ain't going to happen with a camera. You know what I mean? To me,
Yeah,
I kind of like tech to just kind of wander into my life and be free. That'd be ideal. I don't like the idea of spending. I work too hard for the bit of money that I earn to blow it on tech. I
do,
don't love cameras for themselves. I just love the shots I can get with them. Does that make sense?
yeah. Well, they're a tool, not
Like
a
some
not a
people love
status
the
symbol.
yeah, yeah. I'm not into status symbols. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the thing. You know, like any scene, I think a lot of people are they want bragging rights over gear. And I just think, no, I'll be right. Brother, it's the photograph that matters to me. Yeah,
yeah, and I think if you're comfortable with the selection you've made and it does the job for you, that's all you need. Like,
yeah,
uh, Deb, you'll probably remember better than me, but Mon, who is regular on the chats and in the live streams on the Bird Emergency, um, I think she's got a Nikon that's not an interchangeable lens. I think it's got the kit zoom, and not interchangeable, and she gets fine shots out of it for what. And it's a really good way to learn. I think people focus too much about the gear that they've got or they want. But I think you do get to a point though where you always want a different lens to try something different or I mean I know what I want for the reason, but the lenses I've got now are good enough for me to keep getting better, and that's really the point. And understanding photography too, understanding light, isn't that really the key to it, Nick?
mm, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Um, that took a while to become instinctive to think of where is the light going and what are the shadows going to do. And again, that's why I won't take a photograph sometimes because I know the light's wrong. You know, so rather than take a photo that I know is going to suck, I just don't take the photo. I can go a week without taking a photograph because there's nothing worth going click at. You know,
Also,
and then
so
some
when you
days you'll get 20, 30 great shots. So little swings and roundabouts. Mm,
and then you can use them on the days on Twitter that you
mm.
haven't got anything new to
That's
post.
it. I mean, you can
Uh,
get quite desperate. You can go a week. And nothing is worth taking a photograph of. You know, I'm
yeah.
endlessly patient.
Now, now Deb's made the point she can't remember what Mons got, but where are we? Where are we? This one. This one. So Deb's got a Sony RX10 4 fixed optical tele 24 to 600. Yeah, that's really good. 600's a really nice focal length, I think. Got sick of lugging heavy gear around. I can relate to that. That's pretty much why I'm going up the next step to go to a 600 equivalent in micro four thirds. And I chose micro four thirds because I didn't want big heavy gear for travelling, and I picked my camera because I wanted it to be, it's not as good for stills apparently as the flagships for stills, but I wanted it to be good for video and for doing this kind of stuff, and to be small profile, not heavy. So there we go. Deb prefers her Sony to her Canon. Yeah, the good thing about Canon is how there's so many lenses that you can go, and you can head on down to Cash Converters and you can find 50 or 60 Canon lenses, and there's never a lens there for me. So no one's got a Micro Four Thirds lens in the local pawn shop. Canon 17 7D, great camera according to Stormy, and I wouldn't disagree. And Deb shoots in RAW and JPEG. Deb, does your camera shoot RAW and JPEG at the same time? I think most of the high-end cameras do these days. Yeah, I love hearing your clocks in the background. It's a very homey, relaxing kind of sound. That quarter hour chime.
What's that? This?
Yeah, your clock. That's
half
chiming.
Yeah,
half hour. Gee, half an hour. We get going.
Oh, what you can hear is a wind chime out the back.
Oh, that's the wind chime.
I don't even notice it. I didn't know what you're talking about. They could hear it's the wind chime.
Yeah, and when Nick and I were testing that his iPad would work all right with StreamYard and jumping in yesterday, I thought he got a delivery while we were chatting, and I said, no wonder you looked at me like I was an idiot. And I'm going, oh, you got something delivered. You got to go and answer the door. Because it sounded just like a doorbell, that clock. Yeah, cool. Well, unless someone's got another comment or question, particularly for you, Nick, I think we've just about got to the point where we can wrap up. Thanks for jumping in. Hopefully, when I get back into the swing and get more people invited, folks, and are in on the Photography Fridays, what I want to try and do is, ask people to come in sort of as extra guests, sort of co-host, and then the photographers can ask each other questions and share anecdotes as well. So, hopefully Nick's enjoyed himself enough to agree to come along again another day if we can find a suitable time. Deb's got to go. You've got to go. No gigs this week. I think you mentioned to me yesterday, Nick.
Good.
If people are in Newcastle and they're looking for your band, what do they look at or look for?
Best to get onto my Facebook's the best way to track down my gigs. And It's all set to public. It's easy enough to look at. So I'll always post everything there. Yeah.
Okay, and is your Facebook just Nick Raschke?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I'll put the link in the description for when the show goes up on YouTube and on the website and all that kind of stuff. Now I've just got one little bit of housekeeping. My regular podcast feed, and I haven't updated it for ages. Like, I think I put one thing up while I was away with Millie. And I've just noticed the other day that the actual normal feed is dead, but Spotify and all the other things, Stitcher and all that, just everything else, all the other apps have still got the feed in it. But the company that has my feed, I've tried about 10 times to contact them and I can't get hold of them. So I'm just in the process. So if anyone is sort of going, Grants, what's happened to your podcast? It's going to live also on what's it called? Substack and YouTube Music. YouTube Music now has proper RSS podcast feeds. So it's going to be everywhere, and it's going to be back with new guests. I'm doing a pile of interviews in the next couple of weeks, so it'll be back and fresh and new. And and I've got an intern as of yesterday. I've just selected an intern, so we'll have all sort of new graphics, and someone will be helping me run the stream, so I won't keep forgetting to do things like this and like that. so we won't be quite as boring with the talking heads. Talking heads. Talking heads. Are they one of your favourites?
Yeah, all right. I'm more of a Guitar Hero guy. I like guitar solos.
Well, Adrian Ballou, he's pretty amazing, isn't he?
Yeah.
He played on so many of those great Talking Heads albums. I'm not sure I'd call Jerry Harrison.
They were a wonderful band. Yeah, they were wonderful.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd put Jerry Harrison in
I'm more
Guitar
of a
Hero.
rock guy. I like.
So you're a Page and Clapton. Is that your kind of
Clapton before it became boring? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Apparently, I've read a couple of Clapton biographies. Apparently, he's always been a bastard, but he wasn't always a prat. That's the way someone put it. How about the Kinks? Were you a big Kinks fan?
Yeah, I love the Kinks.
Yeah.
Again, they're not even that good, but geez, they were great. There's something about it.
Well, I'd take you to task there. I mean, great songwriting, and actually the production.
Terrible players.
But the production. I mean, what they managed to turn their guitar sound into has became like standard, and then people were building amps to get their sound from.
Amazing.
The old razor blades in the speaker cone, and Anyway, all right, we're not here to talk talk music. I'll send you a Spotify playlist of what I was into in the 80s, and we'll see whether any of them line up, whether we had any common musical interests. Thanks heaps, Nick. Happy snapping if you're out there tomorrow. Thanks to the live crew who are commenting and joining us. I'll let you know. Make sure what is it, like and subscribe? Isn't that what we say? Then you'll make sure you get the notifications if I'm a bit slack on social media to tell everyone what's going on. See you, Nick.
Yeah, mate. Take care.
All right.